The reaction by members of the executive minutes after Court of Appeal gave its verdict on the housing levy confirms a warning that legal fraternity issued to the President of the Judiciary, Koome, that his dalliance with William Ruto was actually going to be very corrosive in the wheels of justice. And the legal fraternity warned Koome that Ruto the executive is just pretending, and is a pretender who is determined to undermine the courts under the guise of fighting corruption and pursuing public interest. Immediately, the Court of Appeal issued its verdict deciding to, of course, on the stay orders, declining to give the stay orders. The president spoke in Meru, and according to him, he's been given some powers by God and the people. And I don't know what is the evidence of that powers. And according to me, mambo itaendelea.
I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt, we are already making the law that the court authorized that we go and make the law. They should have given us a chance to complete the law. But we are going to complete the law, and we are going to go forward with making sure that we create opportunities for jobs for the young people of our country, because that is what the people of Kenya want. That is the right thing to do, and that is where public interest is. Tumekubaliana jameni? Tunaelewana? Tuko pamoja ama tuko pamoja? Kuna watu wananiambia wameenda kotini ati tusimamishe ajira ya hawa vijana. Na wao wako na ajira. Bibi zao wako na kazi. Watoto wao wako na kazi. Ni makosa kupanga ajira ya hawa vijana maskini hapa chini? Hawa waache mchezo bwana. Hii kazi itaendelea. Iendelee isiendelee? Iendelee isiendelee? Wale wanasema mpango ya housing iendelee kuzalisha ajira ya vijana. That is the message in public participation from Meru County. Tumeelewana jameni? Tumeelewana? Tunasonga mbele. Mimi nataka kuambie vile vile, mimi nimefika hapa vile vile kwa sababu tunataka kukubaliana na nyinyi ya kwamba tayari tuko na mpango ya mambo ya universal health coverage.
Sasa iko wakora wengine wameenda kotini wakasema ati ile mpango ya housing isimamishwe, vijana waache kufanya kazi kwa housing. Wanasema mahakamani ati miraa ni madawa ya kulevya, ipigwe marufuku. Mtakubali? Mtakubaliana na hiyo mahakama? Mnataka rais akubaliana na mahakama ama akubaliana na bunge? Mahakama ama bunge?
This is something that should serve as a warning shot to Koome. And the President of the Judiciary must be regretting why he carried herself to go to Statehouse and sit down with the President, because people believed that one of the things that was to be there was to ensure that the whole rhetoric was going to end. Despite of the political class, and this is what should worry Koome, and I mentioned here that she was getting herself into the murky political waters. Despite of the ruling class understanding well the legal bottlenecks in this housing levy, they continue to profile the parties that are involved in that petition as people that are anti-project in a bid to charge the political mass, and in the process it's actually eroding public trust in the courts. Ruto, and I want to issue this warning now. Guys, and this goes to those Kenyans that are clapping in those rallies. It is right now, it is your time to clap, and I'm not blaming them for this. But I know that for the members of the executive, it is politically convenient to find Kenyans clapping for you, because that basket, the tax, the person paying the levy is not in that rally. The person paying the levy is not in that rally. The person clapping there is not paying the rally, the levy. But the executive should understand, the moment those young men and women will start paying the levy as per the recommendations of the High Court, that is when the rubber will meet the road. And those young men and women will start asking Ruto to show them the houses, to give them the houses. That is where hell will break loose. And I'm going to explain this further. Just make sure you watch to the end. The level of political push by members of executive pushing this housing levy is suspect. And to some extent, it confirms something that Gathoni Musyoba said yesterday. And I wanted to get what she said there.
Because the thinking behind the housing is not, to me, according to me, is not geared to solving the problem of housing. The thinking behind the housing is a means of collection of money. Money that we desperately need to pay loans. But somebody wittingly crafted it as a housing so that people can accept it, because lack of decent housing is one of our pressing needs. To be very honest, I want any auditor who can prove me wrong to come to this show and prove me wrong. And prove to me that every single shilling that is being collected as house levy, every single shilling that is being collected as house tax is going towards housing. Because that is not true. Right now, the houses President Ruto is opening and launching, most of them were started by the previous regime, including what he came to launch here in Roiro. The houses in Roiro were started by Uhuru Kenyatta. And it is a private-public partnership thing that was started earlier on. Do you want to tell me that the money that we have been charged as house levy has been used to build Roiro houses? Do you want to tell me that the houses that he has launched in Kibera was not started by Uhuru Kenyatta? And Uhuru Kenyatta did not ask us for house levy? So the reason why I've been critiquing this housing thing is because somebody is using the name house to collect tax. But that tax is not going to house. Number two, the houses that are being constructed as affordable, they are not affordable. You cannot tell me that Mama Boga of Githunguri can afford a house where she's supposed to be paying 31,000 shillings per month so that she can own that house. That is not affordable.
Gathoni Musyoba is putting it straight. Much as it's packaged as money collected for levy, this money could be going into paying the much needed loans, the loans that we are talking about. Now, I want to take a turn and debunk a notion. There is a notion being created by the members of the executive that the housing levy is actually pushing, that monster called housing levy is pushing public interest, and that's far from the truth. In fact, a latest interview by an NTV team is actually showing housing levy will go into the record as the project where we'll show the highest level of disobedience by the ruling class since independence. This is because the monster housing levy is facing a twofold hiccup or twofold concern. Number one is the legal concern. And what we are dealing with now is the legal. By the way, what we are dealing with now is the legal. But hapa mbele, the rationale question is going to emerge, and I will answer that here. Listen to these clips. Is it really true that Kenyans want it? And I sampled this because out of all those voices, you will hear one person saying, but what the other people are saying.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa John Kamau Kombo, mimi ni mkazi wa Lemuru. Na tunaongozwa na koti. Ikisema hiyo kitu is unconstitutional, is unconstitutional na haifai kuendelea. na pesa zote zenye zimekata watu warudishiwe, na hiyo mambo itupiliwe mbali na isaulike, na hatuwezi enda beyond court. Wenye imeamua and it's final.
Majina yangu naitwa Steve Mwangi Kimani. Kulingana na uamuzi ambao umetolewa siku leo na mahakama kuhusu affordable houses, nasema kwamba ni wakati ambao umefika mahali hata rais yeye mwenyewe ambao ni rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya aliapishwa na hiyo mahakama, na wakati aliapishwa na akasema kwamba yeye ndiye rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Sisi kama Wakenya ambao hatukumchagua na wale wengine walimchagua, tuliheshimu uamuzi wa mahakama na tukakubali kama rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo ningeomba kwamba hata yeye kulingana na uamuzi wa mahakama, kwa sababu mahakama inaongea kuhusu sheria na inaongea haki ya kila Mkenya na ni vizuri kutii. Kwa hivyo ningeomba rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya Honorable Ruto, ni vizuri uheshimu mahakama.
Kama ni corruption iko hapo ndani, kama ni venye walitumia sheria ya kukata wananchi pesa, wajue venye watairekebisha ili kila kitu iendelee vizuri.
Naitwa Vitamu Gai, mkaaji wa Limuru. Tunaheshimu maamuzi ya koti yetu tukufu ya Kenya, kwa sababu wamesema mambo ya ulipaji wa ujengaji wa nyumba haifai. Hata mimi kama Mkenya ningesema tu jizi koti imesema, kwa sababu huwezi kuwasimisha mtu umjengee nyumba na hiyo mtu akona kwake, na hiyo mtu hana budget ya kujenga nyumba. Jambo la pili, hizo nyumba hata sikijengwa haitafikia mwananchi wa kawaida, kwa sababu mwenyewe zile pesa nakatwa hasijafika kiwango cha kupatia nyumba.
It's very important. So it is not true that we are actually pursuing public interest. The public are saying something different from what the ruling class is saying. And the reason in part is how forceful you are taxing us to build the houses and rushing to rallies with cooked figures about a number of jobs you are creating. On the other end, you're looking at the jobs you are creating, temporary jobs. But then you're not being told those jobs are temporary, because the immediately the house is complete, the word temporary should be inserted, but it's not inserted there because that's not what the ruling class wanted to understand. I think to Kenyans, I want us to understand the context well, because the context of this ruling, 3 litigants went to court immediately after finance bill was passed, and in their petition they were challenging the High Court to declare the finance bill 2023-2024 as unconstitutional. And in all those, in their petition, they pointed out some different aspects, including, I remember one was that the finance bill did not have public participation from both the 2 speakers, while there are some clauses that are touching the counties. And when that happened, it came out and the court said, you know, there are those which the court said okay, but court singled out others like housing levy and said housing levy was unconstitutional. The 3-bench judge led by Justice Majanja. This is a snippet of their ruling. And basically, if you look at the document, it actually said the housing levy was unconstitutional based on these 2 grounds. Number 1, it lacked the legal framework of collection and implementation. For example, it was not clear. Yes, we are collecting money, and I want to compare this with the defunct NHIF. In NHIF, everyone was pumping money, contributing. And whether you are employed or not, you are contributing. But when you contribute, you know very well there was an NHIF, National Health Insurance Scheme, that you are collecting it. And if you pay, so if you go to the hospital, you produce your card, you are getting the service. So it was constitutionalized, and there was a legislation based on it, on how we are collecting, and that's going to a scheme, and that's going to that specific activity. Now, housing levy was money being just poured in the ocean. Like, you guys just give the money, and it was taxed, taken to consolidated fund, and I want to create, that confusion was actually created intentionally to serve what Gadhanu Mushaba was saying. And they were arguing that, you know what, we are not clear. It's not clear. The court argued on that ground. And that is why they were told, go back to parliament. You know, put it, legislate and put it as an act of parliament so that we know framework, put a legal framework on how this is going to be implemented. That is why you are seeing no public participation going on, and the bill is going to be presented in parliament, and it will continue then before it's taken to appeal. Then, the second argument was the judges was that it's economic injustice, because if this is a tax, then it should apply to all. It should not be discriminatory only for those who have pay slips. And some people say, do not criminalize having a pay slip in this country, because all of us getting money. The only difference is that there is someone who is waiting for the pay slip, there is someone who is in the informal sector. And the court said, lay out the strategy and put it in law so that it not only targets the people in the formal sector, but all. Because if the houses are being built and are not built exclusively for the employed, then if it's a tax, it should cut across. That is what the court argued, and that is what I'm telling you guys. Those young people there, part of what court is saying is niata nyinyi mlipe hiyo levy. So as you clap now, you are clapping because it's convenient. But ikifika, that's when all of us will understand that that levy is actually hurting the working class. So those are the two grounds. Then they went to, the same High Court came and issued some orders. Even after saying it's unconstitutional, the government was allowed, it issued some stay orders so that government is allowed to continue collecting the levy until January 26th, when an appeal will be had. So they gave up to January 26th, after which government had the option to appeal. So today, the government went, and the government had gone to court to appeal. You know, they went to appeal. After appealing, then they asked the High Court to issue stay orders until that appeal is heard. So when they went to that appeal, the Court of Appeal is saying, because there are things that High Court told you to do, and there is an appeal process going on, we cannot issue more stay orders. What you need to do, stop collecting the levy and exhaust that other appeal, so that you put in place what the High Court said. That is what the High Court has said. And in fact, not that it has stopped. But what is actually an insult even to the legal fraternity is that instead of putting that explanation, the members of executive go on top of the house, on top of their cars, and shout at how others don't want the process to go. So, I told you guys that it will be politically convenient. And now, we are dealing with the law. We are dealing with the law. But immediately, we shall settle the discussion on legality. There is one question coming, the other part of rationale. And that is why the housing levy will go to record as one of the biggest haste that will daunt and that will take down Ruto presidency. Because now we are talking to the people. You know, Ruto has taken to the people the question of public interest. Do people need the houses? Do people need the jobs? And in fact, he knows very well that the people in those rallies don't need those houses. So he's only talking to them about jobs. Why isn't, if he's honest, why isn't he not telling them about the houses? He knows very well that the people he is addressing in those rallies don't even need those houses. Even the people who are now contributing that levy don't need those houses exclusively. Or they need housing, but it's not the only thing. Then there is another story that has been created here that it is in the constitution, that's why we are doing this housing. So there's so many things, so many rights in Article 4, in Chapter 4, that are supposed to be granted. There is the right to life, right to food, right to clothes, right to shelter, right to security. There's so many rights. How the house to shelter, the right to shelter, how housing jumped all those rights to be at the top of all the rights is what the politician cannot explain. And I want to tell you why. As much as we are dealing with the legal, the reasoning question is coming, and that is what will boil William Ruto. on this housing levy. Kindly subscribe to our channel. And I want to ask you, I want to tell you things that the public will ask Ruto after we are done with the legal. The public is going to ask Ruto some few questions. And these are some of the things that will come out. Number one, a pitch on phasing out the slums. Remember, there is a, look at this photo. This is some people, government organized some people to protest that they don't want to live in slums. Fine. You know, after 2 or 3 years, we'll start asking, William Ruto, you took the money and took up and ensured that shelter was at the top of human rights that is needed, our rights that are needed, and you said you wanted to phase out slum. Tell us a percentage of people, of slums that have been closed because of the project. That question is coming, and you know why? The moment he will go to the center of Kibera and all those slums and say, I was doing housing, they will be staring just in disbelief and saying, this man is confused. This man doesn't know what he's doing. I'm telling you, because the question of phasing out slum will not be there. Even as we speak, do you know that out of those houses, how many are social houses? Because social houses are the houses that are supposed to be used by the slum dwellers. Those social houses, ni kizungu, it's a bed sitter. I just realized yesterday, during the Meru, when the presidential was being mad, what is being called a social house is actually a bed sitter. A bed sitter in this Nairobi goes at the rate of 8,000, 10,000, 6,000, depending on where you stay. And just around Kibera, opposite the other end, Langata, houses are very expensive. Ask someone staying there if I'm lying. Houses are very expensive. So the question of phasing out slum will not have been achieved. That's one of the reasons in question that Ruto will fight. Number two, when the basket, when that tax basket will reach all, the accountability question on house leadership will be bolder. And this is what I was saying previously. Now, you can go to village rallies and talk to the young people about how they are getting jobs. They will clap, they will yell, they will sing, they will dance at that because they are not paying. Now, Mr. President and the members of the executive, the moment those young people, the moment you will put all of us, you know, the moment you'll put all the people in the informal sector to pay that, everywhere you go, they will be asking you the houses. You know, you can explain to the middle class, you can explain to the payroll person that, where utatoa, lakini tena after the houses are ready, you're going to pay a deposit. You cannot go and make that explanation. They will also be paying. And you know, Ruto is not telling them they will also be paying. Now, he's just telling them about the houses. But in the new recommendation that is coming from, that Ichunga is supposed to present in Parliament and take to court, of course for ratification, everyone is supposed to contribute in that. The moment everyone will be contributing, the question or where the houses will get many people asking. And that is one thing that will boil William Ruto. The third question, equity in building the houses, especially as much as it creates jobs. I want to explain this way. This video is a demolition that was going on in Msambweni. Raila went there. Do you realize that William Ruto has been targeting prime land for this construction? Prime land. How do you want to convince me that you go to Kileleshwa or you go to a Kilimani in any town, a Kilimani in Kakamega, Kisumu, everywhere, or anywhere, where cost of land is 200 million. Then you put up a house there, and you want to convince me that at the end of it, that house will be affordable, looking at the cost of land. So even the rationale of achieving affordability is misplaced, because if you want to make it affordable, start first with that land becoming affordable. And there is an affordable land. It's true, yes. Maybe government is having land in Kilimani and is taking those land. But the market rate of the land around that place, you know, you're not the only one building. There are some people that own legitimate lands and they're building there. Do you want to tell me that you will go there and drop the cost of land be down? Not. So the affordability is not going to be there. That's one question. Number two, and this is to point out that how many houses are being built in Homa Bay? It's only one site. While kila mtu anakatiwa pesa kwamba tapate, counties, there are some counties that will start asking, why are we paying? There is only one site. We are not seeing that construction anymore. There is a county like my beautiful county of Siaya. There is a site in Bondo, if I'm not wrong. I think, yes, I only know the one in Bondo. And of course, because Bondo University is around. Do you think you can continue building houses in counties that maybe have reached their limit? There are counties that hautajenga more than 2 or 3 sites. So people will start asking, you're taxing us all, but you're not building in all the areas. And an understanding will come that as much as we're being taxed, houses are being built in prime areas to specific people. Number 4, William Ruto. The cost of production is shooting. And this is not my figure. Look at this screenshot. This was an article by an association of architects. They want William Ruto that the cost of raw materials used in building is increasing due to the surging, due to the deteriorating value of the Kenyan shilling. The Kenyan shilling is now at almost 164. Now all this steel, cement, and all these materials we are using in the construction, they're locally made here, but raw materials are imported. The cost of importing those raw materials are high. So at the end of the day, if an investor is building, he's going to spend a lot of money. That money will be transferred to the buyer. You know what is the resultant effect? As much as you want to make affordability, because you've shouted about affordability, the houses are not going to be affordable. And the public will start asking you, where is affordability? That is why the houses that were up for grabs in Nakuru, there was a problem. And that is why I insist. As much as we are talking about the legal question, the danger is coming on the rationale. Let's wait and see. Thank you.